This is the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast, and I'm your host, Marsha Ogden. This week we're talking CBD. How can it help us? What is it? And we'll put the record straight on a few of those so-called facts you hear. You know, it's illegal. You'll get high. You'll get addicted. It costs a fortune. Lovely to have you here. This podcast is definitely for you if, like me, you're over 50. But again, like me, you're not done yet. So once a week we'll have a chat about topics that are dear to our hearts. As we hurtle towards this new chapter in our lives, we'll talk about staying healthy, retirement, empty nesting, downsizing, all sorts of things. It'll be a little bit of education, inspiration and humour with a dollop of seriousness. But all the vocab and references will be stuff that we can relate to. Sometimes I'll have guests, sometimes you'll just have to put up with little old moi. Hello and welcome to episode 59 of the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast. This week I'm sticking with the letter C. You know, we've had choices and choices too, and this week it's all about CBD. Just before we move on, I've got to tell you, not many things have been worth celebrating during coronavirus. But this week, we celebrated the birth of our fourth grandchild, Harlow. A lovely little girl, so that makes 2 granddaughters, 2 grandsons, and a step-granddaughter. Oh, how old are we? Anyway, back to the plot. As you know, the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast is all about using today's thinking and today's technology to improve our lives and our chances of being happy over the age of 50. As CBD is the raison d'etre for our sponsor company Organic Secrets UK, I thought it's about time we brought the two together. So here's an introduction to our sponsor. The Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast is very happy to be sponsored by Organic Secrets UK Limited. With a mission to spread the word about natural relief from mental and physical conditions that stop us from living our best life, Organic Secrets is an online supplier of high-quality CBD and supplements. Hop over to www.organicsecrets.co.uk right after this podcast. There's also a link in the show notes. As you may know, my daughter and I started Organic Secrets UK last year in response to our realisation that it worked for us. It's natural and it's legal. And of course, in today's world of technology, we didn't need a huge startup investment to spread the word and establish an online shop rather than a bricks and mortar shop front. So that's what we did, because that's what technology and social media can do for any of us. Create new opportunities. You can hear about, learn about, find out about new things, develop new ways of thinking and become much more aware of what's going on in the world. But when it comes to new ways, I think really we're all a little bit cynical, aren't we? You know, we accept things that we've done for years and everyone else has done for years, like drinking alcohol, eating processed foods, knowing that they're bad for us in the long run, but we don't want to think about the consequences. And sometimes then we jump on our high horse when we're presented with new ideas like CBD and homeopathy in general. That's not a new idea, but you know what I mean. So we can be quite hypocritical when it comes to being concerned about our health. You know, you've probably known about alternative medicine and homeopathy for years, and maybe considered it a bit, kooky or weird. But linked with our knowledge now about Big Pharma and the over-availability of prescription drugs and their side effects, food additives and preservatives, more of us should be now a bit more open to at least considering natural relief and natural remedies as a possible solution. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about why people take CBD, what it can help with, because it's not a cure. This is not a medical claim, but there is an awful lot of anecdotal proof in its favour. So here goes. Why do people take CBD and what can it potentially help with? Although there are products that make it easy to take CBD for general well-being, like CBD-infused cakes and coffee. Have you tried it? We've had the coffee. It's nice. You can tell there's something added to it, but it is nice. But I do want to try the cakes. You can get it in bath bombs or essential oils. But I'm going to focus on why we take CBD to relieve specific concerns in our life, such as physical pain and anxiety. I've got a couple of little family experiences to share with you. I bought some CBD gummies for a member of our family who struggles with mood and anxiety because I thought it's worth a go. I'd read a lot of good things about CBD. I ordered from the States because, well, to be honest, I couldn't at that time find anywhere in the UK. The gummies came and they were like little jelly sweets, and I thought, well, I'm not really holding out much hope for these. But anyway, it was agreed that this member of our family would start taking them, and they did. And you know, even though they didn't want to believe, they even noticed themselves within less than 2 days that they weren't, quite so edgy. And if you look online, coronavirus has been causing an awful lot of stress and anxiety, and people have resorted to looking for new ways of controlling it. So at the moment, have a look online. There are lots of anecdotes and reviews about CBD for anxiety and stress. Just Google it or look at the link that I've put in the show notes. Now, my next story is about Vicky, my daughter, who is co-founder of Organic Secrets UK. She has an ongoing problem with her shoulder. She has terrific pain in it. She has had medical treatment, but it keeps coming back. Now, when it's bad, she can barely move her shoulder. She started taking CBD tablets to manage the pain, and I want to say as if by magic, but we all know it's not magic. There is a reason why it works, but she finds that CBD relieves the pain in her shoulder to such a point that she hardly notices the discomfort. The third story I have for you is about me. Not me taking it, me administering one of the gummies to my then 6-year-old grandson. It was when we had them in the house, but we weren't involved with Organic Secrets at that time. And my little grandson burnt his hand on the hob in the kitchen. Oh, I can feel it now. It's one of the downsides of being a mum and a nan, isn't it? Oh, you can just feel the pain, and you want it to be happening to you, not them. Anyway, we tried everything that we could to ease the pain for him, but obviously he was crying his little heart out. 2 hours down the line, still crying. I'm sitting with him on the couch, hugging him, and I thought, oh, I've got that CBD in the cupboard. I wonder if it'll do any good. Now, I did know, I fully believed it wasn't going to make him high or have any adverse effect. I wouldn't have given it to him, obviously, if I thought there was any chance of that. So I gave him one of the gummies, and he ate it, and we sat there for another half hour, and I thought, well, okay, fair dues, I tried it, and it didn't work. And then, just after I'd had this thought, you won't believe this, he stopped crying, he held his hand out and looked at me and said, Nan, look at me. I'm smiling, I'm not crying. My hand isn't hurting as much. I can tell I've burnt it, but it's not making me cry. Well, I was speechless. My first thought, to be honest, was a bit of a panic, Oh my goodness, what have I done to this kid? I kept my eye on him all day, wondering, is there going to be a side effect? But no, it had just worked. He was fine with it all day long. I gave his mum another one to take home for managing the pain in the night, and that was it. Now, those are just little stories from our family. Obviously, everyone's different, but please look online. As I mentioned, I will put a link to an independent site in the show notes so that you can have a look at what people are saying for yourself. Now, those stories triggered mine and Vicky's interest so much in CBD that we wanted to spread the word about it. But who is it for? Well, it's for anyone and everyone. As you've heard from my stories, it works for a range of ages. The only caveat I'd add is do your own research, and if you are on any prescribed medication or you have a condition that you know about, do mention to your doctor that you're thinking of taking CBD. So how does it work? Well, CBD stands for cannabidiol, which is a compound found in cannabis. Of course you've heard of cannabis. It's an addictive, hallucinogenic drug. And CBD comes from cannabis, so it'll have the same effects, right? Wrong. Cannabis has under its umbrella species marijuana, which we've all heard of for the reasons just mentioned, and hemp, again, which we will have heard of, but not for the same reasons. Are you keeping up so far? Now, marijuana does have a small amount of CBD in it, but it has a much bigger content of a compound called THC, and it is the THC that has the psychoactive, addictive properties. Hemp is the opposite. It contains much more CBD than THC, and so it makes sense that the legal over-the-counter CBD products in the main will be derived from hemp. How does it actually work? Now, I'm no biologist, but I've gathered my understanding from several authoritative sources, and I'd put it like this. In our bodies, we have an endocannabinoid system, part of the neurological pathway. Now, remember that I said CBD stands for cannabidiol. Well, of course, the two things work together. CBD has the potential to plug any gaps in your endocannabinoid system, like the missing piece of the jigsaw. Gaps that might be causing concern with our handling of stress or pain or deficiencies in any area that's linked to our neurological system. Still with us? Tell you what, I'm glad I don't drink with all these big words to say. Now, let's bust a few of those myths and answer a few of the frequently asked questions that drop into Organic Secret's mailbox each week. It's illegal! Organic Secrets is based in the UK, where it's legal to buy, sell and use CBD. However, laws do differ from country to country, and if you're in the US, oh my, it's even more complicated because it's legal in some states and not others. Now, half of our listeners are in the US, and Organic Secrets only ships to UK addresses at the moment, but don't switch off. Keep listening, because the info I'm sharing is, of course, relevant to everybody. It gets you high. No, it doesn't. Quite categorically, no. As mentioned above, it's the THC compound that causes highs, and to be legal for us to sell here in the UK, any detected THC content must be lower than 0.2%. And in the States, I think it's 0.3%. There are no regulations around the safety of the product. To the contrary, it's highly regulated, as we are finding out. You know, it's just people's assumptions that aren't regulated. It's legal here in the UK, as already stated. The THC content must be below 0.2%, as already stated, and the labelling must be very clear and not make medicinal claims. The products from reputable companies will also have lab reports made accessible to customers. How much do I take? Well, we're all different and there is no standard dose. It won't work for everyone in the same way, so you will have to experiment a bit with the frequency, like how many times a day you take your CBD, how much you take, and even the time of day you take it. With regards to the strength of CBD, this is where it gets confusing. If you're taking it as a jelly or a gummy or a tablet, you'll see on the box or jar there are very clear instructions about how much CBD is contained within each item. For example, it might say contains 40 10 milligram tablets, so you know that each one has 10 milligrams of CBD inside. But with oil, it is a different ballgame. Very confusing. It confused us for a while until we got our heads around it. The strength of the oil shown on the bottle or box is the total amount of CBD contained within. So, if your oil is in one of those tiny bottles with a dropper, it's most likely holding 10 millilitres of oil. That equates to 200 drops. Not droppers or pipettes full, 200 single drops, approximately. So for instance, if the bottle says it's 1,000 milligram CBD oil, divide the 1,000 by 200 drops and the answer is 5. So each drop contains 5 milligrams of CBD. To get a serving of 10 milligrams, you'll need 2 drops. And so it follows that for a 500 milligram CBD oil, each drop will contain 2.5 milligrams of CBD. The growing popularity of CBD products has, of course, attracted some scammers. There are products on the market that have been found to contain little or no CBD. So, as you would do with any other purchase, I recommend that you look at the price point of several similar products. And if it looks too good to be true, then it probably is. I would recommend that you look at the company website. Do they seem ethical, or does it look like they're just out to make a quick buck? See if, as a customer, you would be given access to a lab report for the product. Look for reviews or listings about the company. If you're trying CBD for the first time to find out if it would work for you, do buy from a reputable company. I'm not just talking about Organic Secrets here. There are lots of reputable companies around. Just make sure you are buying from one of them, because otherwise you'll get no relief, you'll be out of pocket, and your negative experience won't help the industry in general. Give it the best chance of helping you, so that your opinion about whether it works or not for you will be a valid one. As I said at the beginning, homeopathic remedies have been around for centuries, since Adam was a lad, as my dad would have said. Some might be a load of old rubbish, just an old wives' tale, but some actually do work. And from experience, CBD is definitely in this category. So if you've previously dismissed the idea that natural cures can help you and your family, I just urge you to reconsider. There is a lot of reliable information on the internet as well as a lot of rubbish. So just make sure that your beliefs have been formed by reading authoritative information and not from John down the pub. That's probably a bad example because as we're in, I think it's week 16 of the coronavirus lockdown, things are only just easing up and pubs only actually opened last weekend for the first time in months, and that with social distancing in place, etc., etc. So, but you know what I mean. Get proper, valid information. I do hope that helped to answer any questions, but if you have any more, feel free to comment on this episode on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts, or send me an email to hello@organicsecrets.co.uk. You can, of course, visit the website, which is www.organicsecrets.co.uk, and whilst you're there, join the mailing list, because we'll shortly be announcing a big step in our little company's journey, and we'd love you to be part of it. I'll leave you with a word about our ongoing selection box competition. The Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus Selection Box will contain a glossy hardback edition of the My Best Life Journal. It will contain a gift from Organic Secrets UK, a novel written by one of our previous guests on the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast, as well as other gifts. Here's how to enter. Go to the YouTube channel, which is called Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus. Haha, surprise, surprise. All you need to do there is subscribe to the channel and put a comment on any of the videos. Or go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe and review. I will be putting into a hat the name of anyone who comments or reviews, and I will draw a winner at the end of July. Have an amazing week, and thanks for being here. See you soon. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, share and review. Join us again next week for another episode. The Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast is brought to you by our sponsor Organic Secrets UK Limited. Learn more at www.organicsecrets.co.uk. And don't forget to catch up on all episodes of the podcast at www.directoryofadreamlife.com.